live in Chicago, Illinois from the Thunderdome. We're here to see the Chicago Wildcats take on the Houston Hyenas as the preseason for the SFL Season 11 winds down to a close. My name is Eric Vinson, alongside Marcus Dunhill, Jeff Molinishin on stats tonight. Welcome inside the Thunderdome. Marcus, how do you feel today?
I feel good. I think this is going to be a great match. Get to see Kentez Johnson take over the reins of the Hyenas against the Chicago Wildcats, who went 3-9, had kind of a rough season last year, looking to bounce back and make a statement in this preseason.
And Marcus, we were talking about this off air. Chicago bringing back the vast majority of its team this season from last year. So Shann Varner and company in the front office definitely believe in this group of guys. We're going to see what happens here with the coin toss as we go down to midfield. So Houston will win the kickoff, but they'll elect to kick and receive the second half kickoff. So here we go as Chicago's going to field this opening kick. What do you expect from Chicago Wildcats to come out here, Marcus?
Probably start a balanced game, see whether or not they should be pushing the run or the pass. Don't want to go too heavy before you know what's going to start working, so I just start a lead and figure out what they're weak to.
Alex Zeli with the return up to the 29-yard line, and we will see a familiar face for the Wildcats, E.T. King, coming out for his first snap of the evening. King with J. Calvin Kim in the backfield. He will have Kendall Gilbert, Alex Zeli, as I mentioned before, and Shann Varner, along with newcomer rookie Corey Carter. Play action to start things off. King over the middle, and Gilbert making the catch, but gets thumped right at the 33-yard line. What a hit.
That's one of those plays where you just have to catch the ball. You know you're going to get hit, and all you have to do is make sure you don't drop it as you go to the ground.
Chad tackle, Rodney Panani are down in the trenches. Tyleek Jones and Ryan Michaels are your corners for the Houston Hyenas. Rookie B.J. Lovelace at linebacker, along with Blake Chance and Eddie Gage for the Hyenas. Great tackle there by Michaels as he gets in there and wraps up J. Calvin Kim for his first run.
You see them testing the run, and the Hyenas really had him trapped in the backfield. But that's not to say he won't be able to break a few to the outside going forward.
Kim with his lowest rushing total last season since being a rookie, as E.T. King tries to step up in the pocket, but he's going nowhere, gets dragged down at the 27.
They really had to throw it on third down. They didn't have a lot of choices here. Too bad the protection really didn't hold up on them. The defenders got in really quick. He tried to move up into the pocket to see if he could make a play, but he didn't have anywhere to go and nobody was open.
Chad tackle able to get an early sack here in this contest. And Chicago forced to punt after a quick 3-and-out. Punt is away from Malcolm Perrin. Fielded at just behind the 40-yard line there, bringing out to the 41. And that is where we will see rookie Kentez Johnson come out and take his first SFL snaps. What do you expect from the rookie today?
Kentez Johnson's been super active in the SFL all over the offseason, talking a big game, and I want to see him put up big numbers today.
Well, he'll have some big weapons. We saw Yassine Clifton getting his hand down in the trenches there at tight end. D.R. Sim, the Hall of Famer, going to be at wideout, along with Badr Ajlani. And that pass was a dangerous throw, tipped and incomplete. A.J. Barnes coming up from his safety spot to make the play.
Dangerous throw, a little bit too high, hoping he would go over the defender and drop right into his receiver. Unfortunately, the defender had to jump on the ball and was able to hit it before it got to the receiver.
So questionable decision-making to start things off. We'll see if the rookie can recover here. Second snap, 2nd and 10 from the 41. Johnson to throw. It's going to be a check down over to Warren Murray, his running back, who doesn't go anywhere. In fact, he'll lose yards. Clint Hendershot in there on the tackle.
He decided to keep 3 receivers to the right and then check it off to the left to see if that would draw the attention off to the right side. Unfortunately, it didn't, and the defenders were on it very quickly.
Hendershot and Dylan Rowland, the former member of the Swarm, in there at linebackers. Jesse Vick and Blake Hamrack are your corners, and Maurice Spurgeon and A.J. Barnes your safeties, as Kentez Johnson just unloads and was looking for a receiver downfield. Unfortunately for him, incomplete. It's going to be 3 and out for Houston.
That was definitely a good effort on that throw. He got hit as soon as he threw it, and all things considered, getting hit, that was still pretty close to where it needed to be. It was just out of the reach of his receiver.
Yassine Clifton was the intended receiver. He definitely had a step or two on Dylan Rowland. Ball's incomplete. Houston going to punt. Good punt from Brian Adams. Fielded just outside of the 20-yard line, and Zeli goes nowhere, gets about maybe a yard as he comes out to the 23-yard line. We'll see what Chicago can do with their second possession here.
So now we need to see whether they want to try keep going on the run, or whether they want to try to open up the pass and see if they can get a few first downs over the air.
King with some familiar options at wide receiver. As we mentioned, Chicago bringing back the majority of their squad from a season ago, where they went 3-9. The season before that, they were in the SFL Championship. So we'll see what can happen here for the Wildcats, as Gilbert makes a nice play, able to keep his feet in bounds, upfield to the 40-yard line. 1st and 10.
Perfect throw to the outside. You see some receivers take too much momentum and go straight out to the sidelines. He was able to turn right upfield, keep going, and get the first down right on the edge there and still stayed in bounds. Very good job by the receiver.
So many times we've seen those receivers duck out of bounds, trying to avoid contact, especially in the preseason. But I know I was rather surprised to see Gilbert just spin right upfield and get more yardage, including a first down. So 1st and 10 from the 40. King under center. J. Calvin Kim in the backfield. King will pass. Can throw it out to Kim. Kim throwing a stiff arm. Goes nowhere. Gets maybe a few before he's dragged down by a gang of Hyenas.
You definitely feel more comfortable after you get your first down. It makes you know that you have what it takes to keep the ball moving. So even 3 yards isn't the worst thing in the world. It keeps it manageable, and a few more, you might be looking at a 3rd and short, but that'll be enough.
Blake Chance, Ryan Michaels, and B.J. Lovelace all within the vicinity there, as Kim gets 3 on first down. 2nd and 7 here. King to throw once again. Short pass over the middle, bobbled and incomplete.
That pass barely made it over the line of defenders. I'm not sure that's a pass I would have thrown. In a situation like that, you might have just been better throwing it away, because that got tipped as soon as it made it to the line.
Well, both Elvis Cooper, the backup tackle, defensive tackle, and Chad Tackle are both 6'5". So getting that ball over the line of scrimmage, over those big mitts, is definitely a challenge. E.T. King still standing tall at a 6'5". But obviously they're unable to get it over the wall of defenders. Brings up a 3rd and 7 from the 43. King to throw again. Has time. In the pocket. Over the middle. That's caught. Kendall Gilbert has another first down under his belt.
Great play from the quarterback to just stand in the pocket. He had great protection the entire time. These quarterbacks can usually make plays if you give them enough time. He just needed one of his wide receivers to get open, got open over the middle, and was able to catch it for another first down.
So into Houston territory from the 46. 1st and 10. King will hand it off, this time to Kim. He gets met in the backfield, and that's going to be a loss of at least 1. Damian Hutchinson in there on the tackle.
They've shown some success throwing it. Now they need to get some success running it, because you really have a much better chance of catching them off guard when you have a working balance of both run and pass.
J. Calvin Kim only with 653 yards a season ago. As I mentioned before, his lowest since he was a rookie. 2nd and 11 upcoming now. King, quick pass over to his left. This time Gilbert unable to keep his feet in bounds. It's going to be an incompletion, 3rd and 11 upcoming.
Good try by the receiver to stay in bounds. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to. Even if he was, that only would have been a gain of a couple and would not been enough, and they still would have been looking at like a 3rd and 8 or 9, and that's still tough. So not too much further off than they were before.
Once again, in the preseason, we've got very basic playbooks, no game planning. Don't want to tip the cap towards anybody. King is going to go down once again. In these 3rd and long situations, he has been gobbled up by that Houston defense.
That line broke up immediately and let defenders in. There were people that didn't even get touched going through the line there, and that was all he needed to be able to get through. The guy that made it through and touch didn't get to him first, but it threw off the offensive line enough to let somebody else get to the quarterback.
Looks like it was a safety blitz. One of the backup safeties came in there untouched, so it was just a matter of time before King hit the deck. 4th and forever. Chicago's going to punt once again. Not a ton of offense to be seen so far from these two teams, as Houston will start things off at the 20 after Chance goes just about nowhere with his return.
That was a curious block on one of the return men, letting somebody stand right next to the punt returner and going to block somebody else instead.
Well, it is the preseason. Got to get all the preseason jitters out. Week 1 coming up next week. Chicago shifting around on defense. Johnson under center. He's going to hand it off to Murray. Has some room on the left. Goes down after about a gain of 4. It'll bring up 2nd and 6.
So far, Kentez Johnson hasn't had the most success over the air throwing the ball, so he's looking to see if he can get his running back into the mix.
Not a bad idea, especially with Warren Murray back there behind you. Huge asset for the Houston Hyenas. Almost 1,500 yards rushing a season ago, his rookie campaign, along with 9 touchdowns. Johnson to throw again, over to the right. Got Ajlani out to the 32-yard line. That's going to be a 1st down coming up.
Good throw to get the 1st down. I was a little worried about it at first. I thought that ball was lobbed a little bit too much. However, the receiver, Ajlani, was able to go and pull it down and get across the line for a 1st down. It was a great play by the quarterback and the wide receiver to work together to get the yardage needed to move the sticks.
Bader Ajlani, over 1,000 yards receiving a season ago. Johnson to throw once again. Short pass over the middle of the field, crossing route to the Hall of Famer D.R. Sim, who gets dragged down at the 37-yard line. 2nd and 5 coming up.
Good way to get you to 2nd and 5, which is much more manageable, especially if you get to 3rd down. The defender was behind D.R. Sim, so all he knew is he had to put the ball in front of D.R. Sim when the defender couldn't get it. D.R. Sim was able to pull it down. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get out of the tackle and went straight to the ground.
2nd and manageable here. Murray's got some room on the left-hand side, and a great open field tackle by Maurice Spurgeon. Unfortunately for him, not able to prevent the 1st down, but it could have been much, much worse there on that play.
That's the reason you continue to work out the run. Nobody was working too far out to the outside, and he was able to get over there and just get enough to make it to the 1st down before Spurgeon was able to tackle him.
An empty set here. Johnson in the gun, 4 wideouts. Quick pass over the middle. That's Ajlani again with a nice one-handed grab. Gain of 10. 2nd and short coming up here.
Made a really good catch next to 2 defenders. It was a curious throw that could have easily gone the other way. However, he put his trust in Ajlani to be able to pull that ball down before either defender could get to it. That's exactly what happened.
So 2nd and very, very short, a chest hair, if you will. Offset I formation, hand off to Murray, up the middle, and he's going to get just enough for the 1st down out to the 47-yard line of Chicago.
You definitely need to have enough confidence in running back to be able to get a yard or 2. It's tough when you decide you have to throw on 3rd and 1. So when you know your running back can pick up those yards, it's a huge benefit to that team.
Getting some much-needed offensive momentum. Johnson to throw deep over the right-hand side. Had an open man. Might have just underthrown it just a little bit, but still able to get a 1st down there.
You can definitely see Kentez Johnson warming up as a rookie. Perfect throw. Wasn't, the receiver wasn't able to take the ball in stride, but a first down is a first down. It gives them another chance.
Not 100% sure what was going on with Tyreek Jones's coverage. Might have just been a zone scheme, but that was definitely what was able to spring the receiver loose there. So 1st and 10 coming up from the 30. Quick handoff to Murray, up the middle of the field. Stutter steps and gets dragged down at the 24-yard line. 2nd and 4.
We're definitely seeing really good efficiency from both the quarterback and the running back to move the ball, which means this attack is going to be much harder to stop going forward. You defend the run, you get passed on. You defend the pass, you get ran on. And now they're up in the field goal range.
42 strong watching right now. Want to thank everybody in the chat right now as Murray gets another handoff. He gets dragged down right at the line of scrimmage. They give him a gain of 1, but the veteran Clint Hendershot drags him down.
Murray was probably trying to get to the outside, but wasn't able to get away from that defender on the line and was taken down.
Hendershot is big, but he is quick, 6'4", 235. And as I mentioned, one of the big veterans here in the SFL. 3rd and short, Johnson, deep pass, wide open, diving catch, touchdown! DR Sim!
What an amazing throw. So he threw that immediately. He saw that DR Sim got in front of the defender, the corner, and was able to throw the ball just within reach where he was able to dive and get it, but that was almost overthrown. Luckily, DR Sim was able to dive and get the ball right into the end zone.
It pays to have a Hall of Famer on your staff, and boy, he has made plenty of plays like that. Houston going to line up for the extra point here. Kick up and good. 7-0 ball game as Griffin nails the extra points. Kentez Johnson starting off pretty good. 6 of 8, 60 yards and a touchdown so far.
75% completion percentage for Kentez Johnson, which is extremely high in the SFL. Most quarterbacks sit anywhere from 60 to 65 on average. However, he's doing pretty good after a little bit of a slow start, but when you have your best wide receiver open in the end zone, you got to take a shot at it.
Which is exactly what he did there. DR Sim capping off that drive there with a touchdown, as Zeli brings it out to the 29-yard line. And speaking of the score, I want to recommend you guys download our ScoreStream app straight from the iPhone App Store or the Google Play Store. Free to download both on Apple or Android as the official scoring app of the SFL. You can keep track of all of your favorite SFL scores. 1st and 10 from the 29. E.T. King trying to get his boys in the end zone. He's in trouble once again, and he goes down at the 22.
Protection did not hold up. The defenders got in there immediately. E.T. King kept looking around from side to side to be able to see where he could go with the ball, and he didn't have anywhere to go. And Elvis Cooper was able to come in and take him straight to the ground.
Elvis Cooper was in there. I'm trying to see who else was in there. I think that was Carter Haley getting in there again, who caused some ruckus earlier in the game. So with just under a minute to go here in the opening quarter, Houston finally finding their juju here. We'll see what Chicago can do. 2nd and 18 after the sack. King, short drop, deep pass over the middle, got a wide open man! He's down the middle of the field and finally gets dragged down by Blake Chance at the 35-yard line. What a huge play.
Good throw to Carter. Carter was able to move through into the middle of the field. One of the defenders fell over basically trying to make a play on the ball, which let him outrun most of the other defenders until they were able to catch up with him and pull him down.
What a play by the rookie, Corey Carter. Showing up his teammates there. Looks like the linebacker was trying to go for the interception, and that might have caused the open field run there by Carter. King changing things up. A little shovel pass there to J. Calvin Kim, who gets about 5, and that's better than nothing for sure.
I don't think King liked the way the protection was breaking around along the line, so he just wanted to get the ball out of there, get a few yards, and get that ball away from those defenders that were coming in on. So
after one here in Chicago, it's the Houston Hyenas up 7-0 over the hometown Wildcats. You're watching the SFL on YouTube, presented by APM Music.
Let's go.
So 2nd and 5 upcoming as we switch sides of the field. Chicago within shouting distance here. 4 wideouts. Kim in the backfield, who will get the handoff up the middle, dragging defenders. And what a gutsy run there by J. Calvin Kim. Ends up with a first down.
You haven't seen a ton of big runs from Kim, so it was definitely an interesting call, but he was able to make the most of it and go straight for the first down.
Definitely a good start to this second quarter here. King in the gun. 2 backs in the backfield with him. 3 wideouts. Quick handoff to Kim. Again, not great protection from that Chicago line, as he will lose 1 on the play. 2nd and 11 coming up here.
You saw Houston take a little bit of time to warm up. They had a few questionable plays and then a really great drive by Kentez Johnson. And you see Chicago warming up as well, although they've had some great passing plays on this drive. I think their passing attack is only going to get better going forward.
Rookie Rodney Panani in there with his stop. So 2nd and 11, King, time, short pass. I think that's Shann Varner on the reception, as he gets a gain of 3.
Good protection on the play there. It didn't break up too much, and they were able to get the ball away. However, they weren't able to get enough yards. They only got a couple, which is going to make it 3rd and 8, which is tougher going forward. You have to make those big conversion plays.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Michaels actually went down with an injury on that play. Not 100% sure what it could be, but we'll certainly keep you posted on any injury updates, as he will go to the sideline to get looked at. So a 3rd and 8 now. Empty set, 5 wideouts for Chicago. King to throw, stepping up, deep pass to the right, and he's got a man wide open. Zila, touchdown, Chicago.
Looked like nobody was around him. He was by himself in the middle of the end zone. I don't know if that has to do with the injury to Ryan Michaels and being down at cornerback, but he was able to find his receiver sitting right in the end zone with nobody there.
I would be almost certain that with Ryan Michaels not on the field, that leaves one less weapon for the Hyenas to play with on defense, which is probably why E.T. King was thrown it that way.
That could be a very costly injury for the Hyenas if Ryan Michaels is going to see time in this game where he's not in.
Chicago going to line up for the extra point here. Snap is good. Kick up and away and through. So it is now a tie ball game, 7-7. And once again, want to recommend you guys download that ScoreStream app, the official scoring app from the SFL. And if you guys are just checking out the SFL, want to visit the website, the main homepage, simulationfl.net. That is where you can join our Discord community, get all sorts of information you want on teams, players, staff, anything you want to know. Chicago will kick off here. And boy, what a hit there as Houston goes down at the 26-yard line. That was a good stop there.
You saw an excellent passing game from Kentez Johnson on the last drive. So the question is, do they continue that passing success, or do they try to get Murray some more carries to open up that running game?
Well, we'll see what happens here as we got 3 receivers bunched towards the bottom of the screen. Johnson under center. He's going to hand off to Murray, who ekes out about 2 yards before he's dragged down.
When you sustain a big loss on defense like that injury to Ryan Michaels, you know that your offense might have to work a little bit harder to compensate, because if they're going to have trouble defending the ball on defense, they need to make sure they're putting up more points on offense.
Coming out with an I formation. Johnson under center. Delayed handoff to Murray. Spin move and try to get away from another one. Maurice Spurgeon says, nah.
They're definitely trying to open up that running game, but that's tough when you know that you're missing somebody on your defense, because now it's 3rd and 4. You got to make sure you have that conversion, or all you're going to do is give the ball back to the other team and give them another chance.
certainly might be in the back of their heads here as they line up with trips towards the top of the screen. Johnson with a short drop, stepping up over the middle of the field, tipped and incomplete. That was a dangerous throw there, but Ajlani almost came down with it.
Even after it was tipped, he almost caught it. And if he would have caught it after it had been tipped, he would have been gone to the end zone. There was nobody next to him that would have been able to catch him. Caught it in stride, and he would have been done.
Not 100% sure why he stopped running. Maybe he just didn't see it out in front of him, but...
Probably saw that the ball was tipped and thought that it was going the other direction.
Probably so. So 4th and 4 upcoming for Houston instead. Chicago going to set up the return from about the 30-yard line, and oh god, we're starting to see some good special teams tackles here in the preseason. Zeli goes down hard.
I think in some of the other preseason games, we've seen why you need to play the ball all the way to the whistle, because sometimes it'll get tipped to your receiver, sometimes it'll get tipped to the other defenders. So you never want to just assume that as soon as the ball's not next to you that it's a dead ball, because there's a chance that you can always make a play on it.
Houston shifting things up here on defense as King is under center. Short drop, quick pass over to the left-hand side, got Zeli, and he gets dragged down at about the 41-yard line. They're going to go with a little no huddle here. 2nd and 3 upcoming. Delayed handoff to Kim, who gets met right at the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 3 coming up. Going to stick with that no huddle. King again to throw. This time got Shann Varner for a first down over on the right-hand side. Keeping up with the tempo here, trying to go with a change of pace. Quick handoff to Kim, who gets bottled up there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
As I say, they probably think they can break something away with wearing down that defense.
Seems like it's an odd formation to be going no huddle in. King gonna throw over the middle, bobbled, and almost picked off.
I would say with 8 minutes left in the half, it's a little early to be going this much no huddle, but they just want to put the pressure on them.
I tend to agree. Smith was the linebacker there, almost had it. King gets gobbled up in the backfield. That was a strange looking play, probably a little bit of play action there, but Chad Tackle gets in there to gobble him up.
Definitely didn't get a lot of help with blocking. You saw that defender, you know, one of his offensive players ran right past him and didn't throw a block. Was probably hoping to get the screen pass and be able to outrun everybody else on the line.
That was probably what they were trying to set up. There was just a very strange formation. So them setting up the screen pass just didn't quite look as fluid as I'm used to seeing from Chicago, as Houston will set up shop here at the 29-yard line.
Well, with all that no huddle, they only took about a minute or so off the clock, so that gives plenty of time for Houston to continue to try to make it up the field.
We got a first down from the 29-yard line as we're inside comfortably in the Thunderdome here in Chicago, Illinois. Johnson in trouble. He's going down at the 23-yard line. There's Dylan Rowland getting in there with his first sack.
Kentez was probably hoping he could just get rid of the ball. The defender got in, was able to get around, and unfortunately what the offensive lineman should probably try to do is push that that defender out and give their quarterback a little bit more time, but he wasn't able to. Ended up going straight in for Kentez and pulling him down.
So 2nd and 16 now for Johnson. Again in trouble, and he gets down again. 3rd and 21 coming up here.
Another play where the protection on the line wasn't the greatest. One of the defenders got straight in. Was tried to be slowed down, but wasn't happening. Got straight to Kentez Johnson. He sacked him again twice in a row.
Owens, one of the backup defensive tackles, in there with the sack. Johnson bombs one down the middle, and that's tipped and incomplete. And that was Dylan Rowland in there on coverage that time against Yasin Clifton. Great
job by Rowland to get the play on the ball before the wide receiver had an opportunity to, which brings up 4th and 21 due to the 2 sacks that happened. So they'll be punting that ball away. And Chicago may be looking at pretty decent field position going back with 6 minutes left in the half.
Those 2 sacks were a killer for Houston's drive here. As a little bit of a low snap gets punted away. Fielded at about the 45. Zeli gets a decent return.
Chicago tried an entire possession of no huddle last time. It didn't really work out for them. They didn't make it too far before they had to punt the ball back. Let's see if they question that tactic and go for something else, or whether they try it again.
I'd say they definitely want to run a more balanced approach, because it certainly looked like that no huddle wasn't really working to the best of their abilities. First and 10 here, delayed handoff to Calvin Kim. Plenty of room up the middle of the field. And look at that. Huddled up, got a play going. Kim rumbled for 8.
Aggressive play calling for Chicago on the last drive when they try to do that hurry up. It works for some teams, but not for others. If it's not your thing, then take your time and, you know, take your chances when you got them.
Second and 2, King giving off to Kim again. Defense ready for it this time. I think that was BJ Lovelace getting in there and wrapping him up. It was. And it looks like Ryan Michaels might be coming back into this ball game. We'll have to keep an eye out for him getting back out on the field.
That'd be a great addition for Houston. That way, you know, when Chicago starts trying out that passing game again, they have that extra defender. So far, they haven't been trying to take advantage of Ryan Michaels' absence too much as they've been running the ball.
The fullback getting a check. Actually, no, that was Kim lining up in a different spot this time. Thought he might have gotten the first down. They're going to mark him just shy. It'll be 4th and inches coming up here for the Wildcats.
He was able to just barely not make it to the line. However, they're going to be challenging it on the play because the coach thinks he saw something different than the referee did. So we'll take a look at the review and see if we see anything.
I think this is a good challenge because I'm thinking forward progress gives him at least past the line of scrimmage. See, right there. I'm thinking he's past the line. What do you think?
I think he definitely made it to the line, but whether or not he's actually over the line is what we're going to be looking for.
That's a good question.
After review, the call on the field is overturned.
After giving a long, hard look, it looks like the referee is going to spot the ball differently. So Chicago's not going to be charged a timeout, and it is going to be a first down, as they'll mark it at the 41-yard line as opposed to the 42. 1st and 10 coming up now for Chicago. King under center, Kim in the backfield. King to throw this time over the middle of the field, and that was a dangerous pass. Looking for Shann Varner.
Defender was on the receiver before the ball even got to him. So yeah, that was definitely a risky pass, knowing that even if he caught the ball, he wasn't going anywhere. He was going straight into a defender.
I apologize. That was Trevor Driver, one of the backup tight ends there. Not able to reel it in. Heard footsteps a mile away, which, I mean, who could blame you? This Houston defense has been wrecking shop all night.
I think he saw the Houston defender barreling in on him and knew he was either going to get hit really hard or catch the ball, and it was one or the other.
4 wideouts lined up for Houston, or excuse me, for Chicago. Pitch play over to Kim. Squeaks out of a tackle, will not get out of that second one as he gets dragged down right at the line of scrimmage.
Trying to draw the defenders with the 4 receiver set, however, it wasn't enough. The handoff to Kim was read very quickly, and he didn't make it very far.
4.5 minutes and counting to go here in this first half. 3rd and long coming up for the Wildcats, who line up with 5 wideouts. King to throw. Quick pass over to the left. Got his feet in bounds, did Gilbert. But he's going to be shy of the first down, so it'll be 4th and 6 coming up.
Good pass and catch, but I have to say I'm not a huge fan of that particular choice to throw it there. He knew that his receiver was about 5 yards short of the line and was so close to the edge that even if he had caught it, he would have got pushed out immediately. So there was not a lot of room for him to make a play to get to the first down.
King might have been getting happy feet in the backfield there, the amount of times that he's been hit tonight. So 4th and 6, Chicago trying to pin Houston back deep. Ball will bounce, and it takes the Chicago roll They did not get it in bounds, though. They will mark it at the 20 for a touchback. That final slide probably did them in. So Houston will get okay field position at the 20 as opposed to terrible field position at the 2.
Seen teams try very, very hard to pin their opponents, and it's a lot harder than it looks. It's not too often that they were able to make a great pin, but you see it occasionally, and they were definitely very close on that attempt.
Johnson in the gun. He's going to throw over to his left. And he's got a man out to the, the 25-yard line for a 5-yard gain. 2nd and 5.
Looks like that was Josh Fett on the catch. However, he wasn't able to stay in bounds, took the ball and went straight to the outside, out of bounds. And stopped the clock, however. Sorry, it didn't stop the clock. We're not under 2 minutes. However, he was only able to gain about 5 yards.
Good gain on first down for Fed. And 2nd down. Murray getting a handoff. Gets dragged down at the 28. Averaging 3.4 yards, so nothing too special for today. But he can definitely break out in a hurry.
That 3 yards of carry, if he's able to get 3 yards on the next play, is enough to go to the first down. So it looks like they were just trying to make this a more manageable run on 3rd down. Very
good point. 27 yards rushing so far for Mr. Murray, as Johnson's going to throw over the middle of the field. That's Yassine Clifton with his first catch, and that's going to be a first down out at the 37.
3rd and 2 runs can definitely be difficult, so it looks like maybe they were just trying to set up the idea of that type of a run to see if they could get a receiver open over the middle like they just did. So, you know, you try to play a little deceptive in your play calling from time to time.
Looks like he okey-doked Maurice Spurgeon a little bit there. Thought he was going to go one way, just slammed on the brakes, went right up the field. Got a couple extra yards out of that.
Need receivers that can find themselves open enough to catch a ball, even if it's only for 3 yards.
Especially good for a tight end, as Murray gets gobbled up in the backfield. Loss of 2 on that play, so they'll set up shop at the 35 now. 2nd and 12 coming up.
Tight ends are great targets when you need a few yards and you need somebody big who can just go up and get the ball and bring it down.
From the 35, Murray, handoff right up the middle, had a little bit of a hole. And Chicago's been good about closing up those holes quickly. They've been developing early on, but then they just slam the door shut before he gets too much yardage.
It's definitely been one of those types of running days where they get a few yards and then they get one of those bigger, you know, 8 to 10 yard runs, but they haven't broken anything too big on the running game.
Crowd on their feet chanting defense on the other side of the 2-minute warning. Kentez Johnson and company trying to get a first down on a 3rd and 8. Snap to Johnson. Pressure coming over the middle of the field, and what a great catch in coverage by A.J. Barnes. And that was Yassine Clifton with another great catch.
You could see that Johnson was watching that defender coming in, knowing exactly how much time he had left before he had to throw the ball, and he just had to hope that his tight end had enough time to be able to make a play on the ball. And it was a perfect throw and a perfect catch to get the first down.
Clock rolling, minute 38 and counting. Johnson under center. 2 backs behind him. He's going to throw a short pass. Doesn't get past the line of scrimmage. And it barely falls incomplete. There was plenty of defenders in the area there.
Good pickup on the block to save him an extra second or two. However, he still didn't feel comfortable holding on to that ball. Got rid of it immediately, and it didn't go much further than the line of scrimmage.
So that'll stop the clock at a minute 32. Both teams with all 3 timeouts. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Chicago stacking the box. Handoff from Johnson. Murray goes nowhere as Hendershot reads that the whole way. And that's going to be a loss of a couple there.
They've definitely been a little bit hit or miss in the running game. They haven't opened it up as much as they would like to. There's about a minute left. You'll probably see them looking to pass the ball a little more. They need to get into field goal range.
Johnson under center. He's going to throw right over the middle of the field. That probably could have been a pick 6. I think that was A.J. Barnes coming in and almost picking off Ajlani. It's going to be 4th and 13.
Not only could that have been a pick six, that's one of those situations where you know your receiver is well short of the first down and there's defenders everywhere. There's no way, even if he caught that ball, that he would have been able to make it. All that would have done is set up a better punt. There's probably a better spot he could have put that football.
Certainly a spot where they probably could have gone deep if the ball was picked off, the equivalent of a punt there. As Houston actually does punt it away. It's going to bounce at about the 6. We'll see if they can get it in bounds. They will not before it hits the end zone. And it's going to be coming out to the 20.
Got to be careful with those dangerous throws, because even if you're punting from an extra 6 yards away by having an incomplete pass, you know, it's might not be worth that pick six if you put points the other direction.
2K Sports halftime show upcoming. As King will give the ball off to Jay Calvin Kim, who gets rocked behind the line. Loss of 2 coming up.
So now that there's only 45 seconds left, we'll want to see if they just drain the clock straight to 0 and go into the locker rooms at halftime here, or whether they try to make a play to get into field goal range with the last 30 seconds left.
They're probably using that play to field the defense out, although King's going to throw the ball. Kim is out there, kind of bobbles it just a little bit, which gives the defenders a half step to wrap him up. So with 15 seconds left on the clock, that might pretty much do it for the half.
Never say never when you have 30 seconds left before the half. Atlanta, in their preseason game, took the ball all the way into field goal range with 2 plays in about 20 seconds and kicked a field goal.
Absolutely, and King is going to get one more play off over the middle of the field. Got a man. And it's going to be a gain of 8 or so. And that's going to bring us to the end of the first half. We've got a good ball game here in the Thunderdome. The hometown Wildcats tied with the visiting Hyenas 7-all as we take you into the 2K halftime show. As the teams make their way out of the locker room for their second half warm-ups, want to welcome you guys into the broadcast booth. Eric Vincent alongside Marcus Dunhill, Jeff Melindishin on stats for tonight. Marcus, what are you expecting to see from Houston as they get their the second half kickoff here?
Both defenses have been playing extremely strong. You've seen some great catches by DR Sim, and I would expect Kentez Johnson to start looking at his favorite wide receivers and take some deeper shots. You haven't seen him go deep down the field. He's either gone about 5 yards out or gone off the screen plays.
Yeah, with the exception of that deep pass to DR Sim for the only touchdown on the board, we haven't really seen a ton of deep throws from the rookie. So we'll see if the coaching staff kind of lets him loose a little bit here for this first possession in the second half.
You need to see what your rookies can do. Give them all kinds of play types and see what he excels at.
First and 10, handoff to Murray, squeaks through the line, spin cycle out to the 37-yard line. Good gain of 8 to start things off.
Definitely a great run, moving things forward. That's going to bring him up closer to 40 yards for the day here. So definitely one of the better runs when you can pick up 8 yards on your first down run.
Second and 2 from the 37. Johnson under center. He's going to hand it off to Murray. Squeaks out of the first tackler, and he's going to make it out for a first down out to the 43.
As I said earlier, you need to know that you can trust your running backs on those short yardage situations. Got him 8 yards and said, okay, there's 2 more, do it again. And that's exactly what he's able to do, get past the line and get a good bunch of yards.
Up to 41 yards is Warren Murray. Kentez Johnson, 9 of 15 for 93 yards and a touchdown in that first half as Murray explodes through the middle. And he gets another gain of 7 there. Slowly increasing that average there up to 3.4 yards a carry now.
You know, if you can start getting 5 or more yards on every carry, you're doing exceptionally well because you could go straight down the field in runs if you just got 5 every carry.
Quickly up to midfield are the Hyenas. Trips towards the top of your screen, Murray in the backfield. Johnson under center. He's going to hand it off to Murray again. Trying to follow his blockers. Makes it out past the first down marker. Probably could have gone for more. But that defense of Chicago swallowing him up.
2 sets of first downs in 2 runs each for Murray here, which is, you know, great. It's exactly what you want to see. You want to see when you need your running back to carry the sticks that he's able to continue to do so. Not getting stuffed at the line or not getting just those 2-yard runs. You need to know you can rely on him exactly when you know you need that 4 or 5 yards to pick up that crucial down.
So first and 10 from the 47 into opponent's territory already. Johnson will throw. There's that deep pass we were looking for. And Yassine Clifton brings it in for a gain of about 26 on that play.
Clifton had defenders around him, but he saw that all he had to do was throw in front of the receiver, and none of the defenders were going to be able to get there. As long as he didn't slow down and caught that ball in stride, he'd be able to catch it. But if he had to stop to catch that ball, the defenders would have caught up with him, and he probably would have not been able to pull it down.
That was a pretty great throw from the rookie. Dylan Rowland, certainly no slouch in coverage at his linebacker spot. Just about to the red zone here. First and 10 from the 21. And Murray will get dragged down at the line of scrimmage, so it'll be second and 10 from the 21 coming up.
I'm a big fan of aggressive passing attacks, and with a rookie, you don't know exactly what they can do. I would love to see those players go deep and see what they can do. However, you don't want to risk, those turnovers.
119 yards and a touchdown for the rookie so far. Johnson looking for more. He's going to check it down to Murray, who only gets about 1. And they'll mark him down at the 20-yard line, so it'll be third and long coming up here.
Johnson saw that the pocket was collapsing and was able to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. However, that's not going to help them very much for moving the sticks. So I guess they got to give it another try here at 3rd and 9.
We've seen a lot of offenses this preseason kind of sputter out once they get into this red zone area. We'll see what Houston can do here. Johnson, the throw. Throwing over to the right-hand side. Great correction there as the pass falls incomplete. Great defense from the Wildcats.
It's tougher once you get into that red zone because then you end up, with that vertical field, you just have less space for your receivers to move. Once you get to that end zone, there's not much further they can go, and it's very questionable sometimes when you make those passes to the end zone because those receivers will be waiting for the ball and gives plenty of time for the defenders to make a move on it.
So Houston's going to line up for a field goal. It'll be 36 yards, and it is through the uprights. They'll mark it as a 37-yarder as Houston takes the lead off of the boot of David Griffith.
Definitely took advantage of that nice play by Kentez Johnson to move them closer to the red zone, as well as getting up there. The start of the drive, they had those really nice downs with those runs with Murray, and it was all able to cap off 3 points to take the lead. So it was a good effort by all of their parts moving together to get points.
So Houston going to kick off to Chicago. Zeli fields it from inside his 10 as he gets knocked down at the 25-yard line. Again, want to remind you guys to check out simulationfl.net. That'll have all sorts of information on everything we do here at the SFL, including a link to join our Discord community. Sure to find that and more on simulationfl.net. E.T. King lining up with 4 wide receivers with Kim in the backfield. Pitch to Kim, who has some room. Tries to lower his shoulder. Gets about 3 before he's dragged down by Lovelace.
They would really like to get that running game going. You can see that they're putting a little bit of extra effort to see if Kim can break some of those runs, but it really hasn't happened for him yet.
They were trying all last season as well to get J. Calvin Kim going, just couldn't quite get it and replicate the success that he's had in previous seasons. King to throw, has a pocket, throws it over to Kim, and he'll get maybe another 2 or 3 as he's dragged down at the 30.
Perfect defensive play. They let the receiver get the ball. However, they were right with him and were able to tackle him for gain of a couple. They played it about the best they could and didn't let him spin away, didn't let him juke, didn't let him get into space, didn't let him outrun him.
Eddie Gage in there with a great open field tackle. King with a short drop, and he's going to get wrapped up. Chad Tackle getting in there and wrapping him up once again for another sack.
Tackle broke through that line very quickly. All of a sudden, all I saw was the defenders and lines, and a second later, Kentez was on the ground. I don't think Johnson had enough time to react to see that coming. Made it straight past the defender and went straight for the quarterback in about half a second.
3 sacks for Chad Tackle. Big showing here in the preseason. And Chicago's going to be forced to kick it away to Houston once again as they have a 3-point lead. Houston does over the Wildcats. Punt is away. Good hang time. Fielded at the 35, and he'll get dragged down at the 42. Decent return for the Hyenas, and good starting field position for them as they take over here for the next possession.
The Houston Hyenas have had great efficiency on both offense and defense. They've been working together pretty well, whereas the Wildcats mostly have had pretty good defense, but their offense is struggling to keep up.
First and 10, offset I, Johnson. Hands off to Murray, who gets about a yard before he gets dragged down there.
We definitely saw some great runs by Murray in the last possession. They're probably trying to get that going again. Murray's got over 50 yards and about 3 yards on average, which is pretty respectable, especially for the preseason when you're just trying to warm up and get ready for the regular season.
2nd and 9. Johnson to throw this time. Over to the right-hand side, and that's caught. Ajlani out there with another catch. It'll bring up 3rd and manageable.
Good pickup to bring up the 3rd and short. They've tested their running back on multiple 3rd and shorts as well as 2nd and shorts. You'd expect them to hand it off here and let Murray pick up this yard.
Certainly a running formation here with the eye. Delayed handoff. Murray with a 1st down and more. Out on the right-hand side. Can he beat the final defender? No. He'll get dragged down at the 12-yard line. 1st and 10 coming up.
Incredible run. I wasn't even sure if he was going to make it through that line. I figured he was going to pick up that 1st down, but I thought one of the defensive linemen was going to grab him. He was able to outrun most of the defenders, and as soon as he got to that last corner, I saw that corner trying to bring him down, but also sliding down to his feet, and I thought he was going to get away, but he just didn't have quite enough to be able to get out of that tackle. Otherwise, he might have been gone, but there was a linebacker right behind him who might have caught him too.
Jesse Vick with the touchdown-saving tackle to drag Warren Murray down. What a play for the Hyenas, which sets up a 1st and 10 inside the SFL red zone at the 12. Handoff again to Murray, who gets gobbled up in the backfield. He was going nowhere on that play.
They had a good run previously, and they thought maybe he could take it to the end zone, but it just wasn't quite enough.
Robert Boucher Jr. out there at linebacker making that stop. Familiar name. Johnson to throw. Under pressure, and he goes down once again. And it looks like Johnson is now hurt. He's down on the turf, grabbing his arm, which is certainly not good news for the Hyenas.
Johnson spun to the outside and unfortunately spun right into a defender, and that hit took him down. And unfortunately, he's injured. That could be a big hit to the Houston Hyenas for the rest of this game. He was hoping he was getting a little bit of extra time to be able to make that throw, and I think waiting on that cost him dearly in that play.
So we'll see what happens here from the backup with 4 wideouts and a 3rd and forever. Houston to throw over the middle, and it's incomplete. Looking for Yassine Clifton, but there was double coverage in the area. Certainly an ill-advised throw.
Both those defenders were behind the receivers. I think if he would have threw it a little bit higher and harder, if he would have threw it a little bit further, I think he could have got it into his receiver's hands in the end zone. Just wasn't enough fuel on that ball.
James Ward, the backup quarterback, with an incompletion to start things off. Houston trying to add 3 to the board again. And this time from 38, it's good. So another 3 points added for the Hyenas.
Luckily, they were already in field goal range when Kentez Johnson went down, so they were able to get that field goal. However, they have to hold off the rest of the 3rd quarter and 4th quarter, potentially without their starting quarterback. That could be really rough. The Hyenas have had a great defense so far, but their defense needs to play a lot harder now to make sure they don't let up any scores to give their offense a chance.
First Ryan Michaels, now Kentez Johnson. And this preseason game turning out not so great for the Hyenas, even though they're ahead on the scoreboard by 6, as Zeli brings it out to the 28.
With that injury to their quarterback, time is definitely not in the favor of the Houston Hyenas. So let's see if Chicago Wildcats is going to take advantage of that and turn this back into a ball game.
Chicago needs to seize the opportunity here, flip the momentum, and see if they can get points on the board. Touchdown puts them right back ahead, especially with the extra point. As Kim gets a handoff, and he'll get gobbled up by Lovelace. That Houston defense not breaking it at all.
Houston defense has been incredible on the run stop. Kim is looking at, maybe about 12 or 13 yards with about 1 yard on average. They've seen that the running's not working, so you'd think they would probably try to start working on that pass, but they really believe Kim has what it takes to break those plays and make this a functioning run offense.
2nd and 11 now. King to throw. Under pressure, avoids it. He's going to throw it over to Kim, and man, this Hyena defense has been everywhere. Cannot get a yard on them edgewise.
It looks like you can see both quarterbacks have a touchdown. E.T. King has a little bit more of yards on Kentez Johnson. In that play, King was able to avoid that defender who was going to sack him, got flustered, dumped the ball off short of the line, and lost a few yards.
The rookie Lovelace with a solid heads-up play there, bringing down Kim in the backfield, forces King to throw over the middle, and that's going to be reeled in well short of the first down. Gain of 7, and it'll bring up a 4th and 6, and Chicago going to have to punt once again.
Pass protection's been really questionable on Chicago's end. The pocket was starting to go absolutely through the ball, got it to his receiver too short, didn't have enough time to let that play develop, so they ended up punting.
So Perrin will have to punt once again. Inside of 2 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter. Houston potentially without their starting rookie sensation, as Houston will start off at the 32-yard line after that couple-yard return by Blake Chance.
Houston still has that cushion of being up by 6 points, but you never know how backup quarterbacks are going to do. Sometimes they'll play okay, keep the game going, and sometimes they make it a whole lot worse for your team.
So it looks like James Ward's still in there at quarterback, the backup. Ward to throw over the middle, tipped and incomplete. Ajlani with plenty of coverage there.
You might see some more conservative play calling from the Houston offense now that they don't have their gunslinging rookie quarterback anymore.
Again, if you're just joining us, Ryan Michaels out with an injury as well. We have not seen him come back. And now rookie sensation Kentez Johnson out of this game with an injury. We have yet to be updated on that. So in comes Ward as the backup. Handoff to Warren Murray. Trying to juke out some defenders. Dylan Rowland wraps him up on the play. Gain of 2.
I think trying to make that juke slowed him down a little bit. I think if he hadn't tried that juke and just tried to run out to the right, I think he could have outran that defender.
Crowd on their feet. Trying to get this Chicago defense to get another stop. 3rd and 8 with 4 wide receivers. Ward to throw over to the left-hand side, and they're going to mark that incomplete. Thought DR Sim might have gotten it inbounds, but either way, it was going to be well short of the first down.
You've seen a lot of throws on these 3rd downs where they don't even challenge the first down marker. They throw it short, hope somebody can make a play, develop into something bigger. I figured these quarterbacks would have been throwing well over the line to see if they could break something big. If it goes incomplete, they're punting anyway.
So 58 seconds left on the clock here in the 3rd quarter. Houston to punt away to Chicago. Still in this ball game. Plenty of time left as the fair catch is called for by Zeli. And they will set up shop at the 30-yard line.
Houston's got good receivers. Let them get into space. Let them get into the back of the field and let them try to make a play. Want to invite you guys to check out our Twitter page at SimulationFL. Again, tweeting out all sorts of great stuff. As E.T. King is up at the line in an I formation, doesn't like something, he's changing things up. King will hand it off to Kim, who gets rattled right at the line. He'll actually lose a yard. And guess who? Chad Tackle in there with yet another bring down. Chad Tackle's had a phenomenal game going so far. And Chicago seems to continue to try to get that running game going. However, with the end of the 3rd quarter and still gotten very little to show for the run, they might need to switch gears here.
King again calling an audible at the line. He's got 3 wideouts, offset I, under center. He'll give it to Kim again, who's got some room up the middle, where he's finally gang tackled at the 36.
One of the better runs we've seen in a while. Good 6-yard gain there. Still makes it 3rd and 4. We'll see if they want to try to give it to Kim again for the 3rd time in a row and see if he can pick up those 4 yards after we get back from the 4th quarter.
13-7 ball game here in the Thunderdome. We'll have the 4th quarter of action coming up right now. You're watching the SFL on YouTube, presented by APM Music. King with a 3rd and 4. 2 wideouts up at the top of the screen. 2 backs behind him. Houston stacking the line. King with plenty of time. Over the middle, it's bobbled and incomplete. Had the first down and everything, just couldn't quite reel it in.
Good job by the receiver to stand on the line, know exactly where the marker was. Just wasn't able to hold on to it.
Chicago just not able to get any sort of momentum going, as they'll be forced to punt once again. Good punt by Chicago. Chance to field it at the 25. Nice little move there. And he'll bring it out to the 29-yard line.
Move got him a couple extra yards, but nothing too big. We see Kentez Johnson there on the sideline.
Still don't have any sort of word exactly what happened. It looks like Ward is still in there. Trips at the top of the screen. Murray to run. And Dylan Rowland drags him down. And it looks like actually Kentez Johnson has a fractured arm, so he will be out the rest of the game. Almost as if on cue.
Well, questions have been answered. Kentez Johnson will be resting for this game and getting ready for week 1.
So we'll get a little extra, get a few extra reps here from the backup Ward as he hands it off again to Murray up the middle of the field. And could have easily gone for much more. It was good defensive stop there. It'll be 3rd and 2 coming up.
Never know what will happen in the future, whether your star quarterback will leave or get injured. You got to know that your backup quarterback has what it takes. So at least now the Houston owner can take a look at their backup, get a few reps, and see how he plays in a game.
Get off again to Murray, and he's not able to escape that defensive pressure. Chicago's defense is definitely keeping them in the game right now with a 4th and 5 coming up.
They've definitely been hit or miss on the run. More hits than misses when it comes to Murray. Unfortunately, though, that run, didn't get him enough yards, and it was a little costly because now they have to punt.
Under 10 minutes to go in the 4th, still plenty of time. Houston to punt back over to the Wildcats. Zeli fields it right from the point of attack, and he goes nowhere. They'll mark him down at the 28-yard line, so we'll see if Chicago and E.T. King can finally get some momentum going their way and get into scoring range.
The momentum has definitely not been on Chicago's side all over. However, they have been getting some breaks, pardon the pun here, with those injuries to the Houston side of the ball.
Ooh, that was a bad pun. That was a bad pun. King is going to throw, checks it down to Kim, who gets dragged down after a gain of 4. And that'll be 2nd and 6 coming up here. Tyleek Jones with the tackle. Got to look at the numbers there from E.T. King and Kentez Johnson. Johnson out for the rest of the game. A fractured arm. King with the handoff, and that goes absolutely nowhere. The penetration for Houston is just mind-boggling at this point.
Chicago definitely really believes in their running attack. They're going to keep trying it, it looks like, until the end of the game. They believe maybe that running the ball is the future of this team for season 11. So we'll see if they can get that to work.
So 3rd and 7. King with time throws it on the run, and he's got a man over on the right-hand side. And there's the rookie once again proving his use with a 1st down catch.
Not only was that a great throw and catch, but that was an incredible job by the offensive line. Pushed one of the guys out of the way and pushed a second guy out of the way. Both those defenders easily could have got their hands on the quarterback, but heads-up plays by the offensive lineman to make sure those defensive players stayed away from the quarterback, gave him enough time to make the throw, and it's a 1st down because of that.
That was definitely a veteran throw from E.T. King as he's fading away. Finds the rookie Corey Carter on the opposite side of the field for a 1st down. King not liking what he sees, changing things up at the line, I formation. Houston stacking the box, anticipating the run. They will get the run, and Kim is actually going to get a yard before Chad Tackle wraps him up there at the 44.
They keep pounding that run game, and they're getting about the same level of success about every single time. I'd really like to see them open up this passing game a little bit more, especially with 7 minutes left and you're down by 6.
And Houston keeps on stacking the box, and Chicago keeps running the ball, and they keep going nowhere on this stout Houston defense.
Problem with running so often is you're going to continue to pull the clock down, and there's not many more times where they can give the ball back to Houston, expect to get the ball back to try to score again. Pretty soon they're going to run out of clock and the game will be over.
3rd and 10 coming up. Trips towards the top of the screen. King in the gun. Good protection. Steps up, but the pocket collapses, and he goes down. And that's Chad Tackle once again with another sack.
that likely 4 for the game.
I believe that was his 4th.
You know, that's been the detriment for the Chicago passing game, is that the offensive line hasn't been able to step up too much to be able to defend them. They did really well the previous set of downs. However, they just didn't give them enough time to be able to throw downfield because that quarterback was looking way downfield with that football.
And I was actually wrong. That was one of the safeties getting in there and getting a sack. That was Foxwell. Tackle almost getting there. As Blake Chance will bring it up to the 28 for a 1st and 10 coming up here.
See what Houston decides to do with their backup quarterback with the lead and 16 minutes left in the game.
I'd imagine they would want to just keep giving a heavy dose of Warren Murray, dragging that clock down.
Not only would that help them with the clock, but Murray has been more successful in the running game.
In the 1st and 10, we do get a Warren Murray handoff, and he goes nowhere. Bottled up at the line by Dylan Rowlands, who's got 6 tackles, 2 for a loss today.
Definitely wasn't a great run on that attempt, but he's still averaging about 4 yards a carry.
So 2nd and 11 coming up here. 2 backs, 2 receivers. Ward to throw over the middle, and it's incomplete. Almost a diving catch there. I think that was his fullback that got in there for that.
I still think that was a good option, and I still think that was a good throw. It just wasn't quite enough for the fullback to be able to get his hands on the football. But the ball was exactly where the ball needed to be. Maybe just a little bit closer in, but I think that ball was definitely obtainable.
It's not a bad throw at all. Mike Allen almost bringing it in, the fullback. But almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades as we bring up a 3rd and 11. Ward under pressure. He's going to gun it down the middle of the field. Picked off by the Chicago defense, who will not quit. Maurice Spurgeon with the big pick.
Great heads-up play to get in front of the ball before it got to the defender. Spurgeon's one of those players where you'll hear his name multiple times a game, and there you go. He got a great turnover for their team. Now their offense needs to use that momentum and move that ball down the field.
6 picks for the veteran safety a season ago, as King is going to throw it out to Shann Varner, who gets a couple yards on that catch in double coverage there.
Chicago got a couple yards out of that. Unfortunately, they're just not getting enough time from the offensive line to be able to go deeper with the ball. And that's what Chicago's really lacking, is those big plays to move the sticks.
Time starting to run low on the Wildcats as we tick close to 5 minutes in the ballgame. King to throw. Got protection this time. Not a ton of receivers as he checks it down to Kim, who gets maybe a couple on that play. They'll mark him at the 46.
Again, on those passing pickups, they're really not picking up a whole lot of yards. They just don't have the time to make the throws. And when the ball's caught, there just isn't much of an opportunity for those receivers to make a play to get those big yards.
The problem when the O-line doesn't block is when you bring in more more options to block, you don't have a lot more options downfield, as J. Calvin Kim goes down in the backfield once again, and a 4th and 11's coming up for Chicago.
Chicago may have to reevaluate what they want to do for Week 1. This may not be, the play set that they want to go into Week 1 with here. They're going to be facing Atlanta in their first game, and so far they have not been having a lot of success on the ground or through the air.
High snap on the punt as Chicago gets it away. Chance to field it outside his own 10. He'll get it out to the 16-yard line. I know you're ready for Week 1. I'm ready for Week 1.
I think everybody's ready for Week 1. E.T. King's got 163 yards on the touchdown, which is actually very, very respectable quarterback numbers, but the points on the board, they don't have a lot to show for it, besides touchdown.
So from the 16, 1st and 10, handoff to Murray, following blockers, And I thought he might have gone for a heck of a lot more. He'll get 6, and he'll take it.
Another good heads-up run to keep the clock moving down as well, get closer to that first down marker. Those first down markers are what can end the game in a situation like this. Chicago's defense has been doing great getting the ball back in the hands of the offense, but the offense just hasn't been able to step up enough to get those points on the board.
2nd and 4 from the 22. This run game of Houston is dragging down that clock as Murray gets another handoff, a little stutter step, and he gets the first down as he goes over the century mark for yards.
With that first down, unless they start taking their timeouts, you're looking at almost 2 minutes now they can take off the clock and go very close to that 2-minute warning. So, you know, every first down you're looking at almost 2 minutes that can come off the clock.
And we're getting down to 3 minutes here as we get a shot of Yassine Clifton. The Hyenas coming out in an offset I formation. Another handoff to Murray. This time he'll get dragged down by Hendershot at the line of scrimmage. Only a gain of a yard.
The yards aren't as important anymore for Houston as much as taking that clock down. But now you got to start deciding on Chicago's side, when do you want to start taking your timeouts? Do you want to let them run to the 2-minute warning and then go ahead? Or do you want to take your timeouts now and use the 2-minute warning on your half when you get the ball back?
Getting close to the 2-minute warning. This will probably be the final play as Ward is letting that play clock bleed all the way down. Murray with another handoff gets out to the 31. And I'm fairly certain that will be our final play before the 2-minute warning.
It's definitely interesting because if they would have taken their timeouts already, you'd be looking at 3rd and 7 with over 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. But maybe they think that they need those timeouts on offense to move the ball back down to the other side, so they feel more comfortable saving it to use for their passing attack.
So we'll see what happens here. 2 minutes left to go in the game. 13-7 ball game in favor of the Hyenas. Hand off to Murray, who only gets about a yard. Chicago going to quickly burn that first time out. And they've got a minute 57 frozen on the clock.
Minute 57 and 2 timeouts is definitely enough to get points. So I think it's definitely great move. You know, you could either play aggressive with the timeouts and hope that they don't get a first down and have more time on the clock. Otherwise, you risk using your timeouts, them getting a first down, and then you can't do anything but let them take the clock down to 0.
Fourth and 6, Houston to get it off. It was a low snap, but a good punt. Dragged down at the 31-yard line, and that's where Chicago is going to try and get a touchdown on the board to go ahead and take this ball game, even though there's been no sort of momentum for the Wildcats pretty much all game long.
There's about a minute and 50 seconds left. They have 2 timeouts that they may use on this drive, which means they need the score in this drive, because if they start using timeouts, then as soon as the ball's turned over, the game is probably over.
Minute 50 left to go. King with a quick pass over to Kim. And that Houston defense reading it the whole way. Tyleek Jones with the wrap up there, and they'll go no huddle.
They know that they have to save those timeouts because if they use them now, it could cost them.
King with a deep pass over to the left-hand side, and that'll probably do it. What a great interception by Blake Chance.
Incredible interception, just got the ball before it even got anywhere near that receiver. You know, not a great throw, throwing it over to where the defender was. With these 2 timeouts, you're looking at about a minute and 10 seconds or so. They're probably going to get the ball back with just a little bit left on the clock, unless they're able to get a first down.
Murray's going to get dragged down after only gaining a yard. So a minute 27 frozen on the clock now after the second timeout being burned by Chicago.
Sorry, I'm bad at math. They'll probably have about 40-45 seconds left.
That's all right. That's why we're broadcasters. We're not supposed to do math. That's what clocks are for. So 2nd and 9 now for Houston, just trying to kill this clock, get out of here with a win. Hand off to Murray, who gets gobbled up in the backfield once again. Hendershot going to burn their final timeout. It'll be 3rd and 9 with a minute 24.
So they should definitely, unless they get a first down here, Chicago should definitely have an opportunity to field that ball and make a couple shots at the end zone and maybe break something away and tie up this game or even get the victory with the extra point.
Another handoff for Murray. Out to the 46-yard line, so Chicago's defense does its job. Gives their offense another shot here, and we'll see what will happen here on this final possession for Chicago.
By the time the ball is kicked and it gets to the receiver, there's going to be just under 40 seconds left in the game.
Still a decent amount of time. As you mentioned, your swarm going down the field in about maybe 25 seconds and getting a field goal on the board. This team needs a touchdown.
You definitely need to play the boundaries, and you can't settle for turning the ball over. You have to be aggressive. You have to make those plays down the field. And you have to stay on the sideline. 35 seconds is not a lot of time, especially if you throw the ball over the middle and don't get out to the outside. If that clock doesn't stop, that might be to the end of the game.
So not the greatest starting field position for the Wildcats. But as you mentioned, 35 seconds left to go. And a wily veteran quarterback at the helm. We'll see what happens with 4 wideouts here to start things off. King to throw. Quick pass over to his left. That's going to be Gilbert, and he's going to get dragged out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 31 seconds.
5 yards for 4 seconds is definitely not a great currency exchange in the fourth quarter here. You definitely need more yards and less time. However, if it gets their offense moving and allows them to get a few more yards, take those short shots when you can get them.
The other piece of the equation here is that the Wildcats have not had great pass protection for King today. So we'll see if he can finally get some protection, get a throw or two off. And again, over the middle of the field is not where you want to throw it in this situation. Third and 2, 5 wideouts. King under center.
Two plays over the middle is not going to be enough. It's about 8 seconds on each play, which means they've got about one more play here.
They're going to clock it with 4 seconds left to go. Not close enough for Hail Mary situation, so we'll see what they want to do here with 4 seconds.
This is where you need a Christmas miracle. It's happened before.
It's happened twice before. So here we go. Here's the ball game. 4 seconds left to go. 2nd and 10. King's under center. Short drop. Over towards the left-hand side. Incomplete.
He's got 1 second.
And I lied. He's got one more play left.
I knew as soon as he threw that ball, he threw it so quickly that I wasn't sure if there was going to even be enough time for a receiver to make a play. But luckily, he knew maybe that was just not what he wanted to throw the ball on, so he wanted to make sure that he threw it incomplete with at least a second left to try again.
All right, so this for sure is the ball game. 4 wideouts in the gun. King, pump fakes, over the middle, short pass, and that is not going to do it. Houston's going to win this ball game. 13-7 is the final score as the Hyenas get a victory over the Wildcats.
Great victory for Houston. They definitely played offense like they needed to and certainly played defense like they needed to. However, the second half in particular for the Chicago Wildcats, they just could not get anything going. They had 181 passing yards, and I believe most of that came from the first half. They just didn't get anything moving in the second half, even with the injuries to Houston, losing their quarterback in third quarter and losing one of their corners in the first half. It still wasn't enough to give Chicago the edge over Houston.
So Kentez Johnson, Ryan Michaels, both going to be back for week 1 when they go up against the Queen City Corsairs. Chicago Wildcats are going to welcome in the Atlanta Swarm for Week 1. And we will be live in Dallas, Texas for the SFL convention coming up next week from the 13th through the 15th in Las Colinas, Texas. Any final thoughts, Marcus, before we let the people go?
We got 2 more games tomorrow to finish up this preseason action, and then we're on to Week 1. I know everybody's been very patient throughout the offseason and the preseason. We've had some very close games in this entire preseason. I think everybody's super excited to see what their teams are going to do with their playbooks in the regular season.
For Marcus Dunhill, Jeff Molindishin on stats, my name is Eric Vinson. For all the people down there at SFL headquarters deep in the heart of Texas, I want to thank you for watching the SFL on YouTube presented by APM Music. Good night from Chicago, Illinois.